I'm here today with Brittney Boykin, composer, and just looking forward to getting to know you, Brittney, over the next few minutes. So my
Yeah.
understanding, I have to tell you this, my wife was doing a search. My wife is a soprano. She and I concertize together frequently, and we were doing, to be truthfully honest with you about this, we are both embarrassed that we don't have more repertoire that is composed by living composers, by female composers, and by composers of color. So this is what led us to an internet search to find some composers that we wanted to get to know, and you popped up right away. My
Oh,
wife did a set of your songs. I think it's Moments of Sunder.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she did. She did a few songs from that cycle that you wrote, which are just spectacularly beautiful. And
Oh, thank
yeah, yeah. So it just got us to doing a little bit of research about you, and lo and behold, I found out that you are a native of Virginia, and
Yes,
I
Fairfax
was
County. Fairfax
delighted.
County.
Yeah, I was just delighted to see that, and that again led me to, I have this position with the Virginia chapter of the American Choral Directors Association. I serve as the
Mm.
tenor bass repertoire and resources chair, but also I'm spearheading the whole Sing for Virginia campaign, which is hopefully a way that we can connect Virginia-based or Virginia-born composers with Virginia choirs. And so that kind of leads me to the first question. Where were you born and raised? You said Fairfax County.
Yeah, so I actually was born in Dayton, Ohio.
Hmm.
And at about age 10, my dad, who was in the Air Force, got stationed at the Pentagon. And so we made the move to Alexandria, Virginia. And so, yeah, I kind of grew up there, did elementary, middle, high school there.
Yeah, and you said you were in high school with Ernest Johnson was your high school choral director.
Yes, he was all 4 years. Like I was one of those kids. I was in everything, but choir was one of my favorite things. And yeah, Ernest Johnson, Mr. Johnson was my choir director. And I just am always amazed and when I think back because he was one of those choir directors that gave us everything, like
Yeah.
jazz, pop, gospel. Like he just did it all. And I will always just appreciate him for just exposing us to so many different styles and genres and the big musical kind of dance show that we always did in the spring. I mean, I remember one time we did Thriller and like he brought people in to do like the choreography and teach us that. Like it was just always like a fusion of just so many wonderful things. So
And you're currently based in Atlanta, is that correct?
yes, yes.
What led you to Atlanta? How did you go from Alexandria to Atlanta?
Well, Atlanta came because I went to Spelman for my undergrad. So after high school, graduated and then came to Spelman and I just kind of loved it. I mean, I went away for 2 years for my master's degree at Westminster Choir College, but I came back after graduating from Westminster because Atlanta has just always felt like home.
Yeah.
And I love it here. It's a great place, great food, great music scene. So it's just always felt like home.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when did you actually start composing?
So I had been like songwriting since about middle school. And then like high school, there was like another kind of songwriting studio production class that I took. But like formal composition didn't happen until Spelman. That was my sophomore year. And all of the music majors had to take a introduction to composition class. And so that was like my first taste of like arranging anything for choir and Spelman, it's all Black women's choir or women's college. So the choir director actually was teaching that class. And so he
Okay.
asked everyone to arrange a Negro spiritual. So I arranged it for women's voice or treble voices and piano, but that was like my first introduction to formal composition.
And so is voice your primary instrument?
No, so piano is. So at about age 7, I started studying piano. So I took piano lessons throughout middle school, high school, and then I went to Spelman for piano performance.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So That's very interesting to me. And what are your favorite things to compose for? Instrumental, voice, choir, choral?
Um, probably probably
Mm.
choral and solo voice. I have done a lot of writing for art song in the past couple years, so I've really enjoyed that. But definitely vocal music for sure.
And do you have a favorite subject matter that you like to compose for?
Not necessarily. I think I'm passionate about setting text by Black authors. I do really enjoy that, but um, telling stories, social justice or not, I love storytelling within the music. So
Mhm.
I think I'm drawn mostly to that. But anything that really speaks to me, whether that's the poetry or if someone's coming with a project that they're really passionate about, that always helps. But definitely some element of storytelling.
Okay. And from chorally, what's your favorite? Do you like to compose for women's chorus, men's chorus, SATB?
Probably I'm most comfortable with like women's or like treble voice arrangements. I think that's probably coming from my background at Spelman, since
Hmm.
that was where I was like first introduced to that. But I'm probably most comfortable there. But yeah, but anything choral is always fun.
I know some composers, when they compose a piece for women's chorus, they have that sound in their head,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to transcribe it for mixed chorus or for men's voices because they have the sound in their head. But do you feel that way? Do you feel when you're composing something specifically for a choral setting, do you feel like it's got to be this way, or do you ever redesign some of your pieces, revoice them so that they can be used?
So it's funny. I've been tasked with doing that within the last few months, actually. So, Music of Life, which is now with Oxford, originally for like a children's choir or treble voice
Hmm.
choir, like it's done really well. But then, there was the opportunity to rescore it for like SAB, and I'm like, okay, I don't think I've ever thought about it like that. Or like another piece that was written for a middle school. I think it was a TMEA conference that went up last year. And so then someone else asked, like, oh, can we, rearrange this for TTBB? And I'm like, okay, sure. But it's like, I just never really thought about it. But I never want to be too set in my ways to be like, no, it's only for SSA or SSAA. I don't ever want to be that way. But it's always interesting to hear it in a different way because I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I don't think I ever really thought about it sounding that way or in a different key to fit this different ensemble. But yeah, I'm definitely open, more
Well,
open.
I like to tell composer friends that it's certainly a lot more marketable if you open it up to
Yeah,
everyone.
that's what I'm learning. That is exactly what I'm learning. So
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure publishers tell you the same thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you written anything for full orchestra and chorus?
No, not officially, not yet. I do have a few things coming up that will hopefully be for, well, I guess it's not really for choir and orchestra, but it's opera. So I'm
Oh,
dabbling in opera coming up at this coming season a little bit. So
that's
we will
exciting.
experiment with like orchestration and some things.
What other works do you want us to know about? I know you've said that you've written a lot of things for voice and that you do
Mhm.
compose for choruses, but are there any other works, major or minor, that you think might be very interesting for
Yeah, so
people
I'm
to know about?
excited. I had a piece recently premiered, my first organ piece that was performed at the American, what is it? The AGO conference,
American Guild of
American
Organists. Yeah.
Guild of Organists conference. Yes. So apparently that was well received, and I had never really thought about writing anything for organ. So people are asking if I have more. Not yet, but we will probably explore that possibility. But I'm glad.
Now, and as I said early on in this conversation, my wife and I, when we were looking for female composers, black composers, You popped right up. You were very easy to find on the internet.
Oh.
So you do have you've got a YouTube channel, you've got a website. Any other? You're published under Oxford.
Yeah, so I have the one piece with Oxford. I have a few more with Graphite Publishing. And yeah, and then my own publishing company, Clavier Press. So I think, I honestly never really saw myself as a composer for a very long time until like 2020, probably. And then, life started happening for a lot of people across the world, and it just allowed me time to kind of think and I don't know, just regroup. And I'm like, okay, so we have some pieces out there. I think we can say that we're a composer now.
So
But yeah.
you're still really building a catalog.
I think so. And in my mind, I had set up my own publishing company, back in 2015 to just create a way for people to purchase the music if they were interested or not. Like, I don't think I ever really had the idea or the goal of being a composer. Like, it was just something I was just doing on the side. And then it kind of just really, it felt like overnight, like it just kind of blew up in a way. Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the website has helped. I mean, I think, like you said, social media presence has helped, because a lot of people have asked me, like, who are Black or who are Black women composers? Like, how did you do it? And I think visibility has just helped. So I just encourage everyone to, get a website if they can, or social media if they can. And yeah.
Well, let's talk about commissions. Is that an element of your work right now?
So it has been in the past. I have scaled a lot of commissions back, just because I am focusing on opera for the next year or 2 years. So I have had to scale things back just a little bit. But normally, yes, commissions have been a huge part of the catalog.
So you're not really available for commissions right now, not for the next couple
At
of
this
years.
moment, no,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
That's okay. But in general, if you were available for commission, I mean, right now, if we wanted to connect you with a choir in Virginia that wanted a commission, we'd be looking at like 3 to 4 years out.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's reality for you, which is way cool because a lot of composers. That's a good problem for you to have. Well, what else? What else about you do you want the choral world to know?
um, I just that I'm excited to be here. I feel like the choral world has been very embracing, and I appreciate that, because I think at the beginning of my career as a composer, I felt like there was a lot of resistance and a lot of doors closed, and I questioned whether or not that composition was something for me. And so I think to be on the other side, it's felt really good, and I just appreciate everyone's emails or social media notes or whatever. That it's been very encouraging, and I just want to say thank you for embracing me and encouraging me along this journey. So it's been nice.